Today we will discuss different forms of money, as we have already discussed certain forms of money in the previous lecture, but in this lecture we will discuss these forms of money in detail. So first of all, as we have discussed before, that the early stage of money is the barter system, in which goods were replaced with goods and the people exchange goods with goods, and the major economy, the major unit of exchange is your different items. Like these are the list of certain items which were served as a money in certain periods, like clay, animal teeth, fish teeth, cattle, horses, sheep, rice, slaves, salt, bears, knife, nets, boats, iron, silver, copper, bronze, paper, debts of the bank, and the debts of the government. So these are the list of certain items which have served as a form of money, and now currently these are paper money, and different debts and the debts of the government are being served as money as well in nowadays. We have discussed problem associated with barter system, like commodities were exchanged with exchange. There were double coincidence. There the problem of double coincidence of want, a problem of divisibility and homogeneity, and traveling problems. So all these were problem associated with the barter system. So in that case, metallic money was introduced, and these metallic money was consist of coins of made of gold, silver, copper, or nickel, and these were are in various weights, fineness, and value. And there are different type of metallic money, like standard money, which represent the money of account and the value utility apart from its being used as money. The standard money is the type of money that its intrinsic value would be equal to the face value. So standard money was the money which has the amount of metal which is written on the face of that value. So that is called as standard money. But the token money is as the subsidiary money, like the metal has less value as compared to the value written on the face of that coin. So face value would be higher than the intrinsic value of that money. So advantages associated with this metallic money is that it has facilitated in making payments in small amounts, and it's easily converted at face value with other currency in the country, and they cannot be smuggled out of the country, because these coins are only acceptable in a specific country in which they are being issued. And there are a few chances of holding or melting with the rise in prices, as the intrinsic value decrease with the face value. So melting down these metal was of no use, because the value of metal is lower than the value written on that metal. So in that case, we can say that these are the advantages associated with the metallic money. Now, then another form of money is a legal tender money. Tender money is a type of money in which which consists, or which has the state power behind it. That state had declared as a money. So people has to accept in settlement of debts or dues, or when any case the people are buying certain products, so they have to accept it, because the government has declared it as a money, as money. So you have to accept this. Then there are certain types of legal tender money, like one is unlimited legal tender money. It is a type of money in which the payment of certain amount is not limited. You can pay the amount in this type of money with no limit in it. Like we can pay any amount of money with when you are paying it in on notes. But there is a legal tender money as well, in which limited legal tender money, in which there is a binding, or in which a creditor can accept in settlement of claim up to a certain amount. Like you cannot pay to a certain person lakhs of amount with your coins, or with your 1 rupee note or a 10 rupee note. So there are certain limited limit, or certain restriction regarding the payment amount in a limited legal tender money. Other type of money is your paper money. And paper money refers to the note issued by the central bank of any country, and these have the legal authority of controlling the amount of money circulated in the economy, and these are the legal tender of legal tender money of any country. So there are different types of paper money. Number one is a representative paper money, and this is a type of money which has fully backed by the reserves or the reserve or any kind of metal behind this metallic reserve. And if you want to convert that into metallic money or any kind of metal, so these are available. But there is another type that is called as convertible paper money. Like in this type of money, the certain portion of metal is or securities are kept behind it while issuing these money, because there is an assumption that not everyone who had the money come for its conversion, so they have to put certain percentage of metals or certain percentage of security behind the issuance of these paper money. There is another kind of money that is called as fiat money. Fiat is also a paper money, and in this type of money there is no reserve or no securities behind issuance of these paper money, because it is only money because the government has declared it as a legal tender, and they have zero intrinsic value. That means there is no reserves or no government securities present behind these type of money, and nowadays we are using the fiat money. Another form of money is bank money. Bank money is a type of money which is not a legal tender money. It do not have any legal backing of government behind it, but it is used widely used and as a medium of exchange, because it is being issued by a bank which has a standing in the market, and people have confidence on it. Therefore this money is being widely used nowadays. Type of bank money are your checks, bill of exchange, and drafts. When we talk about check, so it's actually an order on a bank by its client to pay a sum of money to himself or third party. And like it's actually the amount of money which is present in the represent amount of money which is present in the bank, and it's actually on order to the bank that pay that amount to the person who actually have that check. There are four types of or four items of checks. The one is the drawer. A drawer is the person or entity who makes the check. Pay, the recipient of that of the money, the person to whom you are paying, and the drawee, the bank or other financial institution where the check can be presented for payment, and the amount written on the face of that check is actually another item of the uh, check. There are basically three types of check. One is bearer check, and this check is can be called as an open check because it can be cashed from a bank by any person who represent it on the counter, and there is no restriction on that because it's an open check. But order check is a type of check on which the word bearer is struck off. It cannot be in cash unless it is ascertained by the bank that is paid to the right person. So if it is presented by any other person, so that person and that check is not be cash, so bank has to make it sure that it should be paid to the right person. Another is your cross check, and there is two parallel lines are drawn across the face of the check, and also the word co is and co is written on between them, and the payment is deposited only in the payee's account. That means that this is actually a restricted kind of check in which the cash is only transferred to the bank account of the person who has that check. So these are the three different type of checks. Then we have bill of exchange. Bill of exchange is the written order, and it is being written by the drawer to the drawee to pay the money to the payee. So they are used primarily in international trade. And international trade, actually, when you are trading with any other person who are living outside your country and you don't know that person, so you can make the dealing through bank, and the bill of exchange can be used in order to facilitate these kind of payment where international trade is involved. And they are actually written order by one person to his bank to pay the bearer a specific sum on a specific date. Then we have draft. It is also a type of check where the payment is guaranteed to be available by issuing bank. And bank will review the bank draft requester's account to see if sufficient funds are available for the check to clear. So once the draft is presented by the bank will see that whether that amount is present in the person account who has given you that check. And if that is confirmed, then that specified amount are set aside in the fund for the person's account to be given out when the bank draft is used. Plastic money is actually a name given to the money, like for example we are using of electronic cards, debit card and scratch card. It is actually a generic name because mostly the card are made up of plastic. So these are this name is given to this type of money. First of all, in plastic money there are credit cards. Credit card is a type of card which is being issued by a bank, and it is issued by the bank in which you have an account, and they will provide you a cash line up to a certain limit with which you can purchase or buy certain items, or you can use it in any traveling and any other kind of expenses. The interest is charged on the amount which is being borrowed, but you don't have to pay the total amount or lump sum amount at once. You have to give this amount in installments, but you have to pay interest on these cards. Then there is another card that is called as a debit card. Debit card is actually is like a credit card, and it is actually being issued by the bank. But the money which is being used by this card is the amount of money which is present in your account. There is no credit provided by the bank. You directly the payment is made directly from your account balance to the balance of to the bank account of the purchaser, or bank account of the party with which you are making dealing or making for example, if you are making purchases in a general store, so the amount is transferred from the bank account of yours to the bank account of that general store. Then you have scratch card. This is another type of card in which certain numbers are written, and there is ink on that, and you have to scratch that ink, and with the help of that number you can get a certain amount of money which is being you have to enter that number, and you can get a certain value to it. Like for example, if you want to have a mobile card, so you can scratch the amount and put it into your phone, so you'll get certain balance. So these are that kind of scratch card. Then there is another kind of card that is called as stored value card. These are the card issued by certain organization, like in Pakistan we have ARY cards. You have to put certain amount of money into that cards, and you can use that card into specialized stores which can authorize those cards. The other card, like we have a certain outlets like JS Dot and Nishat, they will give you certain points, loyal points, like it is points are these points are associated with the amount of purchases you do, and with the help of these loyal points you can use these cards for making purchases or getting discounts on your other purchases. Or you can also use these loyal point or credit for canteen meals or any other purchases. Then we have telephone cards. These are the cards that can utilize for the payments of telephone calls. These cards are not a very common in Pakistan, but at international level or internationally in European countries, you can use these cards. And these cards are prepaid cards or credit card, or one that adds the cost of the call to a standard bill. So these are different kinds of plastic money. We have another kind of money which is not actually a plastic money. It's an internet money, or this is it is called as cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is the online currency which is being which has no tangibility, but you can make payment in bitcoins. But these bitcoins are being regularized by blockchain systems. And internationally, these bitcoins are being used very widely, but in Pakistan it's illegal to trade in bitcoins. There are, as we have discussed, different forms of money. So money is actually very useful in our economy, and it plays a very vital role in different aspects. There are many primary functions, secondary function, and contingent function associated with money. First of all, as a medium of exchange, you can use money for the purchase and sale of any good. Like you can purchase your everyday items, or if you are a seller, you can sell certain item and exchange the money for that goods. Or and secondly, it overcomes the difficulties of barter. We have discussed these difficulties of barter, that in case it's a system in which goods were exchanged with goods, and at that time so there were certain difficulties associated with barter, like double coincidence of want, transportability, durability, and divisibility, etc. So this as a medium of exchange, it has overcome the difficulties of barter. Then time saving in transaction, because in the previous period, when metallic money or even the commodity money were used, the people have to evaluate the value of that certain item or certain metal which is being presented at a museum as a medium of exchange. But with the development of money, and with the development of a new form of money, it has saved the time of transaction, or in making time of making transaction. And it also helps in promoting efficiency in the economy. Obviously, money has promoted the efficiency in the economy, and with the development of new forms of money, it can play more and more a role in promoting the efficiency in the economy, because it can be used for making payments to the factors of production and purchasing and selling of certain items. Then it has lowers transaction cost, because a certain energy and time and many other expenses are being wasted in valuing or making other and if you are not using money, you are directly using certain items. So in that case, you have to waste lots of time plus energy. So it has lowered the cost of transaction. Then it has encouraged division of labor, and you can now people can do certain tasks and be specialized in that task, because they will be paid with the help of money, and they can make a specialist, being a specialist in certain aspect. Then a unit of account, with the help of money, we can measure the value of certain item. And when we are able to measure the value of certain item, we can make a difference, or we can compare the values of different items. And thirdly, it has also reduced the transaction cost. Then standard of deferred payment, that means that in certain time when we don't have certain amount of money, and we can also, in the case of barter, you have to certain items before making any exchange. But in the case of the development of money, this thing has been solved. We can use certain things, or we can purchase certain thing and pay back that amount to after certain time. Or the credit policy or credit system has been developed developed with the help with the existence of money. So it's easy to borrow and lend, and the credit based businesses are being developed, which has benefit the economy to work. Then a store of value, as the money will represent the money in the existence of money represent purchasing power over time, that if certain item has certain price in certain time, and after the so few weeks or few days or few months or even for few years, we can see the price of that thing. So with the help of that we can measure the purchasing power, or we can measure the value of certain item, and remove the difficulty of store of value, as with the help of money we can store the value of certain item. Like for example, if we want to purchase a car, and we can postpone our little purchases and store that amount of money in our closet, in order to save that value to purchase a certain item in future. A secondary function of money, like it aids in specialization, production, and trade, as it removes the difficulty of barter system, and it has a standard unit of making payment or medium of exchange. So it helps in specialization, like division of labor, and when we are doing production, so purchase of raw material and sales of products or trade. And it also helps in expansion and diversion of trade. Expansion and diversion of trade means that it will increase the amount of trade we are doing with different areas, and it also divert trade from one areas to another. Then help in production of commodities, as it will help in making payment to factors of production, and making any other kind of measures which will increase the efficiency of different functions. So it will help in the production of commodities. Then specialization, like promotes a division of labor and helps to use the limited resources of the business and make efficient utilization of the factors of production. Then it influence on income and consumption, and it help in making payment to the factors of production. So obviously these the people who are purchasing the people who are getting these payments, or they're getting this income, it will increase their consumption pattern. And once these increase in consumption pattern increase, the demand for these products also increase, and it will increase in the consumption of these consumption of the income they are earning. And it also actually help in making loans to the people, because with this same unit of account or value, we can lend to certain value to certain people, or we can store the value as well. So helps to save money and deposit it in the banks. And once we deposit in the bank, we can earn interest on that, or if we invest in any kind of business, we also earn profit. And bank advances these saving to businessmen and industries. So as with the help of money, the whole banking system can operate, like many other financial institutions are there, which collect the savings of the people and lend it to those people who can use that money more effectively and more efficiently. And in this way, all the savings are transferred from savers to investors. And as savers have money, but they don't find any opportunity, or they don't have such skill to utilize that money, so they can invest in these financial institutions, and these financial institutions lend this money to the people who have skill, knowledge, courage, and opportunities, but they don't have money. So in this case, these money can be better utilized, and they are you can say that this can be the transformation of from transformation from high risk asset to low risk asset. In the secondary function, we can see that the money is a tool of monetary management within the economy, because monetary management is very much important for any economy, because it is an important factor which determines the distribution of
income and wealth among all the people who are living in certain particular society. And also it would be an important tool for accelerating the growth of the economy. And once the economic growth increase with the in new with new development of businesses, and payment of factors of production will increase the production patterns, which actually help in increasing the employment within the country, which result in decreasing the unemployment. Then it can also be helpful in regulating and expansion of the economy. Then certain contingency functions are also given, yeah, provided by the money or the common medium of exchange. First of all, distribution of national income, like all the factors of production are being compensated with their salaries or with their remuneration in the form of money. Then basis of credit management. If we talk about credit system, so now today's banking system is only possible with common medium of exchange, like paper money and any other kind of money. Because if we don't have any common medium of exchange or any other kind of medium which can be helpful in making payments or making deferred payments or extending credits, so we are not in a position to develop or in not a position to stabilize the banking system of the country. Then measure of marginal productivity. Marginal productivity is actually the productivity of each unit increase in the production. So once we know that what is the marginal productivity of different factors of production, so we can be easily assess the valuability and necessity of certain factors of production. Thirdly, it helps in equalization of marginal utility in expenditure. Like we can easily decrease our expenditure, minimize our cost with the help of measuring values of different cost and different cost of different factors of production. Then liquidity of property. If we have property, if we have land or building or any other kind of property, so certain times we are in desperately need of money, so we can sell that property and attain that common medium of exchange in order to fulfill our need. So we can use our property in a form of money at any time when we need a certain money for our any important need. Like then we are talking about different forms of money, and we have discussed different money material being used. But there are certain important aspects or certain important characteristics which should be possessed by anything which can be used as money. Like first of all, it should have a general acceptability. General acceptability means that at any time when you present it for making payment or payment of debt or purchasing something, people are willing to accept that material or that thing as a money. So first of all, first is a characteristic or first important thing which should be have in a money should be a money it should have a general acceptability. Then secondly, it has a stability of value, because it would be used as a yardstick to measure values of certain item. So if the material itself fluctuate in value, it should not be a good money material, because you are measuring values or saving values of certain item in the form of money. If its value is not stabilized, so it cannot be it will not be fit for using as a money. Then transportability. Certain commodities or certain metals were not fit for money material, because transportability was very difficult. And one of the important problem which was faced by the barter system was transportability was very difficult for these agricultural produce or cattle and etc. So anything which could be qualified as money should can be transportable. Then storability. It should not be perishable, like commodities like agricultural commodities or cattle. It should be, you can store it in a large amount if it's in smaller space. Then divisibility, this also is very important. You should have smaller denomination of this thing, and you, if you want to buy a smaller thing, so you can pay for that thing in smaller amount. So if that a money material or a material which is being used for money, if it can be divisible into smaller denomination, so it would be fit for using as money. Then homogeneity, homogeneity is very much important. If if one time you are using one material and certain times so the other kind of material is being used, so people lack trust on that, and people would the general acceptability thing would be vanished if don't have homogeneity. So homogeneity is also very important. Then cognizability, cognizability means that it should be easily recognized. People will recognize it as money. So once if you place them in front of you, in front of them, so they can realize that this has value, and this is being a legal tender, or this thing is being issued by the government, so they will accept that thing. Then malleability, you can melt them, and you can convert them, or you can convert them in any form. Like for example, if you talk about metallic money, so metallic money is malleable. You can convert it into small denomination, or if you want to if you want to make conversion of different types, so you can convert them. So it should be have a malleability as well. So these are certain characteristics which should be possessed by any product or any commodity or anything which could be used for money.